Now, I understand that the spotlight is on white America, and rightfully so, but let's face it, racism unfortunately affects black people everywhere. And this is not a new thing just because there is this ongoing protest. Far from it. The black people that came before me, they bore this burden for far too long. A lot of them put up with this injustice and sacrificed just because they had hoped and prayed that the future would be different. But here we are in 2020 and we still have to have this conversation. It's absolutely crazy, it's frustrating, and it's heartbreaking, and it makes no sense. By the way, Neil deGrasse is a man I respect. He has written an article with the same title where he speaks about his ordeal with racism as a black man in America. I couldn't believe it, and I encourage you to read it. Now, if it's taken this long to stamp out racism against black people, it will be pointless today to have this conversation if we're not going to be honest with each other. Yes, a black man in the United States is called a nigger. But Indians have their version of nigger. They call black people bandar. I looked it up. So do Arabs. They call black people abid, and the Chinese hakkwai. You'll be surprised, but these are words people still use today. I challenge you to look at your own languages and prove me wrong. And I think the question that you should start asking yourself is, why is that the case? Why are black people referred to that way? Why are black people called that? And if a black person anywhere in the world says that racism doesn't exist, that's the best case of the availability bias. What you're attempting to do is that you're trying to make sense of what's happening based on examples from your small world. And this is dangerous, and it's also not new. Again, if we're going to have this conversation about anti-blackness, which I feel is a much more appropriate term, because there's no question racism affects black people the most. So let's cast a wider net, and let's be honest with each other. For me, more than once, people have stepped off the elevator just because I was on it, held on tighter to their purses, or simply looked the other way with disgust. And so, by just being black, you are automatically perceived as a threat or evil. Actually, there is a research done on this, and I couldn't believe it as well when I saw it. There's something called the bad is black effect. Look it up. I remember a time I was on a train from Vienna to Prague, and I was with my girlfriend who is Armenian, and we made a miscalculation thinking that we needed a different train to continue to Prague. So we got off at a station called Brno. If we're going to catch the next train to Prague, and our flight to Dubai was that morning, we had to take a train continuing to the next station in 15 minutes. So here we are rushing to this train, and all of a sudden, these two army guys stop us and ask specifically for my papers. Rightfully so, I gave them the ID, the tickets, the booking, visa copy, and no, that wasn't enough. They needed my passport. So they took all my papers and said they needed to check my status with immigration. They came back after 15 minutes. Needless to say, we missed the train, had all our belongings stolen and all the money stolen. And if I didn't have a credit card at the hotel, I don't want to think about what could have happened. The point is, those officers refused to believe me even after I showed them all the proof, because in their minds, because I'm black, I was already guilty until proven innocent. But what could cause this if not for the fact that the black skin is a stigma, or as Dr. King says, something worthless and degrading? And you only need to look at the Dole test to draw this conclusion to understand what a black man is dealing with. I was shocked to learn that black Brazilians are second-hand citizens just because they are black. And so is the treatment of dark-skinned people in China, in India, where black students are hunted down, and many injustices in the Arab world. Now, keep in mind that these are all non-white countries who themselves aren't very happy when they are judged based on the color of their skin. And this is all because a black skin, as one article said, came to be a synonym for crime, laziness, poverty, and low intelligence. So now how does this affect black people? Well, in most of the jobs now, what you see is frustration. Frustration of black people, mainly because of the confirmation bias. They get no benefit of the doubt because of the stereotypes. Everything that happens, any mistake, is confirmation of your low intelligence or laziness. It's basically how stereotypes work. And I know a lot of kids who have even given up trying because they are convinced that things will never change. And so we have a lot of work to do. Neil deGrasse puts it best. For some of us, we have a deep supply of fuel. But what if you don't have that deep supply of fuel? What becomes of you? How many black people falling shy of their full potential because they ran out of this fuel, because they ran out of energy and they gave up trying?